Well, those are the headlines that we're tracking at this hour. I'm Shireen Bhan and you're watching After the Bell. The big story tonight, after 2,500 new COVID-19 cases have been reported in India over the last 24 hours. This as per the data available on the Health Ministry's website as of 8 a.m. this morning. Now, this is the largest jump in 24-hour terms in terms of active cases. However, recoveries have also seen the highest 24-hour jump, coming in at 1,559. 97 fatalities have been reported in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, even as India entered the 7th week of its nationwide lockdown, Prime Minister Modi interacting with state chief ministers to get a sense of the situation on the ground, discussing ways of improving the economy and also drawing up a plan for a graded opening up of economic activities. Remember, the centre has relaxed certain restrictions in green and orange zones last week with riders. Now, economic activity in red zones continues to be suspended. So what do states want? Here are ground reports coming in from Mumbai and Chennai.
What sources from the Tamil Nadu government are telling us is that first and foremost, there will be no formal request for any extension of the lockdown that, of course, will be in effect till May 17th. This comes even amidst the fact that Tamil Nadu has partially reopened its industries, IT parks and, of course, standalone stores both within and outside Chennai, with manufacturing units outside the city operating at just about 50% of the total workforce. However, the more important request is just this. Tamil Nadu government is requesting the centre for 9,000 crore worth of funds to resuscitate and revive industries within the state. This, of course, also includes a 1,000 crore rupee funding towards boosting of medical infrastructure in the state, more specifically with regard to purchase of PPE kits for doctors across the state of Tamil Nadu. The government also wants a 6-month-long deferment in terms of payment of GST dues by smaller companies, and it's also looking for a bailout package for discoms across the state that have suffered a nearly 80% shortfall in revenues by way of the lockdown when power demand has dipped across the state of Tamil Nadu itself. So a bailout package for discoms, 9,000 crore worth of funding for industries across the state, and deferment of GST dues for medium, small and micro enterprises across the state. That's the list of demands that Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy will put across in his meeting with Prime Minister Modi today.
Yes, it's an important meeting that's happening between all the chief ministers of the states and the Prime Minister. The first and the foremost demand that Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray is likely to make to the Prime Minister is to extend the lockdown, at least in the red zones or the hot spots, because we've seen that apart from Mumbai, Pune, which have consistently thrown up a high number of cases, new hotspots have been emerging in Maharashtra, maybe Malegaon and now Aurangabad. Considering the growing threat, that is one important demand. The other important demand is that of an additional manpower that the state government may seek from the central government, in view of the fact that over 1,000 police personnel have already been affected by corona. The 2.5 lakh police personnel across the state are clearly tired due to the implementation of the lockdown. There is the expectation of the state that there has to be some respite to these persons in uniform who have been standing guard for a long time, and for them to recuperate, there may be a demand for some additional human resources for law and order enforcement from the center. The third demand is, of course, the additional funds that the state requires in this fight against COVID. What the state government also expects is some help from the center for easing out norms for the functioning of industries, particularly in the green and orange zones. Though Maharashtra has said that over 25,000 industries have started functioning in the last few days, the number is clearly not enough, even as industrialists say that there is a woeful lack of laborers and several other resources, as the streamlining of resources has not yet been happening in the state.
Well, that's the view coming in from Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu with what states want from the centre. Remember, that meeting is still underway. Timsy Jaipuria joins us with what's transpiring there. Timsy, states making their pitch to the Prime Minister about what they would like, more flexibility, funding, etc. What are you picking up?
Well, that's right. What sources are telling that the meeting is underway, and Andhra Pradesh, to begin with, has sought relaxations in lockdown. Andhra Pradesh has also requested the centre to help removing social stigma attached to COVID patients. Apart from that, West Bengal Chief Minister has asked centre to have faith in states, saying that states have done extraordinary work at these crucial times. And also, she has sought some more flexibilities, saying that states should be given more flexibilities to deal with state-specific actions when it comes to dealing with the current situation. As we speak, the meeting is underway. Let's see what transpires finally, because a lot more needs to be spoken about when it comes to this meeting. Delhi is also trying to make a pitch that containment zones should be reduced, red zones should be reduced, because like this, Delhi would not be able to open up at all, and Delhi is going to suffer even more, considering that the revenues of the state are depleting. So let's see what's the final outcome of the meeting. But yes, states are making their pitch considering the challenges that they are facing in the states. Back to you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there is a need to review the definition of what qualifies as a red zone, because remember, at this point in time, for instance, the entire area of Delhi is a red zone. So the Delhi chief minister there saying that only containment zones should qualify as red zones, not an entire state being qualified as a red zone. Now, even as the Prime Minister meets chief ministers, the wait for a fiscal relief package continues. Government sources say any fiscal relief must factor in fiscal space and the evolving macro situation. They also insist that the measures, if any, will be phased, and it is not prudent to use all the ammunition. Well, there will be measures. The question, though, is whether we will see the announcement coming in this week, or it could take a little longer, but this week is what is the expectation at this point. Government worries that despite the lockdown, cases have continued to rise and we may need to prepare ourselves for a long-drawn fight. Sources say the higher borrowing plan announced last week factors in a compression in expenditure, the potential revenue shortfall and the relief measures. The government believes ratings action will have adverse consequences, and we must factor in the impact on outstanding ECBs of the corporate sector. So all of that is part of the mix of what the government is working with at this point in time, and perhaps that is why it's taken longer for that relief package to be announced. It's time now for us to head into a break. But up next, the Central Trade Union slam UP and Madhya Pradesh governments for suspending most labour laws for 3 years. That and more when we get back. Well, the other big story, which is having a major impact on business and the economy, 10 central trade unions have come together to jointly condemn the suspension of certain labour laws in UP and Madhya Pradesh. They've also hit out at few other states for diluting labour laws. The statement reads, and I quote, "Central trade unions consider these moves as an inhuman crime and brutality on working people," end of quote. The union also termed the move, and I quote again, as a gross violation of the International Labour Conventions, and said that they are seriously considering filing a complaint before the International Labour Organization. UP has suspended several labour-related legislations for 3 years, and a Madhya Pradesh ordinance has done it for 1,000 days effectively. In these states, minimum wages are not mandatory. There will be no check on working conditions or guarantee of occupational safety, among several other changes. While some of these changes are worthy of condemnation, India's labour laws are indeed archaic and need an overhaul. Sample this: India has over 40 central labour laws and over 200 state laws. Do we really need so many laws, or does simply foster Inspector Raj? Companies are also struggling to cope with the coronavirus outbreak. In a recent meeting with the Union Labour Minister, the Employers Association, that means industry, has made a pitch for 12-hour working days and the suspension of labour laws. The recent economic survey called for overhauling labour laws to unleash the potential of India's small businesses by dedicating a separate chapter to it. Now, the survey makes the case that deregulated and flexible labour laws are the way forward to boost productivity and create jobs. But states seem to have gone a step further. At 6 p.m. today, we'll bring you an exclusive interview with the author of the economic survey, the chief economic advisor, Krishnamurthy Subramaniam, on the moves by the states and the actual labour reforms that India needs. Meanwhile, the Railways will resume its operations gradually from tomorrow. Initially, the Railways is planning to start with 15 pairs of trains that will be run as special trains from New Delhi station connecting select cities. Anu Sharma joins us now with the details. Anu, how is this going to work? Is it open to everybody? What's the process?
As of now, the details that we have, it is open to everyone. The booking will take place only via the website or the application available on the mobile phones. So there'll be no tickets which will be issued at the counters, and there'll be no tickets which will be issued on board or RAC or even the waiting list tickets. There'll be only confirmed tickets which will be issued, e-tickets. Now, when the passenger goes to the railway station, the passenger and the driver of the vehicle, they'll be allowed to move on the road to the railway station if they show that confirmed e-ticket. Remember, the passengers will have to undergo a mandatory thermal screening at the railway station when they reach the station, and only asymptomatic passengers will be allowed to board the train. Passengers had been advised to carry light luggage, and they've also been advised to carry their own drinking water and eatables, because railways is not providing the service that it was providing earlier. It is providing limited eatables and packaged drinking water. The fares will be as per regular Rajdhani fares, and there'll be only AC coaches in the 15 pairs of trains that will run from May 12th. Now, it's important to note that the passengers have also been advised that they should carry a face mask, and they should use it throughout the journey, from the time they enter the railway station and during the entire course of journey. When they arrive at the destination station, then they have to adhere to the health protocols of the arriving station. And if the states mandate if the states tell the passengers to monitor their health at their homes for 14 days, then those kind of protocols have to be followed by the passenger, but that will depend on states. Also, the current the advanced reservation period will be for 7 days, and the railways for now, they have said that the other kind of passenger services will continue to remain cancelled, and a call will be taken in the next few days. Back to you.
All right, Anu, many thanks for joining us. So limited trains restarting operations, only asymptomatic passengers will be onboarded, and of course all of this has to be done online, the ticketing process itself. We are seeking more clarity on whether anybody can avail of this facility, but as the story develops, we'll get you more details. Time now for CNBC-TV18 exclusive. The COVID-19 crisis has given us an opportunity to innovate. That's the word in from Tata Sons Chairman Emeritus Ratan Tata. In a freewheeling chat with Sudhir Sethi of Chirati Ventures, Tata said he expects entrepreneurs to show far-sightedness to tide over the current challenging times. Take a look.
I think in many ways, the smokestack industry finds it difficult to change all the entire supply chain, can improve on it, but it's by and large tweaking it compared to what's happening in the digital area.
However, innovations may be possible in the supply chain, in cutting out inefficiencies in distribution chains, where possibly technology can help.
Yes. In that business area, it could be just as innovative and just as far-reaching in its area, and it would contribute to a smokestack industry and have its effect in that sense. You know, for example, you look at the automobile industry, and you look at the changes that are being envisaged today: autonomous driving, artificial intelligence being merged in terms of application. The industry was there. You had automobiles. What you're seeing today is a new world application for them of shared mobility. It's something that you would be laughed down 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And yet it's happening in a smokestack industry, being driven. It's, for example, quite conceivable that a leading car manufacturer would be a Tesla rather than a Ford or a GM or a Mercedes. And they brought a lot of innovation into the business. And so tomorrow the largest car maker could be an Apple, because it brings to the table a new approach to doing something. So I think what's happening is the barriers are coming down.
Yeah.
And the one way to look at it is that's being driven by the hardship that we are all facing in the marketplace, caused by a completely different phenomenon, namely a virus that's overtaken the world.